worker. I am dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs create a balanced and healthy lifestyle by providing tools, tips, and resources that elevate health from the inside out. Every episode, myself, along with a featured guest, share our steps to feel good daily journeys on my globally recognized show, Steps to Feel Good Daily with Lona. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Steps to Feel Good Daily with Lona. I am super excited because I have like the most gorgeous woman that is going to be on the show today, inside and out. She is absolutely stunningly beautiful. But before I introduce you to her and tell you a little bit about her, I'm going to do my little tip. And I chose a couple of oils that are going to be related to what we're talking about today. So one of these oil, the first one, it's called Thinker, and you can see it has this cute little hangy thing. So this is a great one for children. Adults can use it too, but it is the Thinker blend. And this helps with focus. It helps with overstimulation and just being unfocused. It's just going to help your child if they're doing studying or they're in school and they have a terrible time focusing. This is going to help them with that. And the other one that I chose to go with today is Adaptive. Oh my goodness. This is an amazing oil. It's the oil of adaptability. If you're obsessing about something, you're worried, you're uneasy, this is the oil that will help you with that. And it will just help you to feel more safe, more calm, and clear. So if you comment below, I will enter you into a drawing and you can win these. So be sure and leave me your contact information or a way for me to reach out to you if I don't already know you. Okay, thank you. And now I am going to tell you a little bit about Katie before I bring her up. So Katie May Vasicek is I call her a mindset specialist. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Katie is a life coach and she specializes in parenting and mental fitness. I need my glasses. I can't see this. She has a bachelor's degree in child development and a master's degree in education with 20 years plus experience coaching and counseling people. She helps people attain greater fulfillment in their lives by, whoops, sorry, I can't see this. By greater fulfillment and happiness by clarifying their goals. We need goals in our lives, right? So I am going to bring Katie up and ask her some questions. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Lona.
I don't know if you saw my little glitches there, but it was kind of fun. But that's the joy of doing live, right? So I am going to start first by asking you what your nope, that's not the right one. I wanted to ask you this one. Why you have steps? What are the steps that you take to feel good daily?
Yeah, I guess the things that help me feel good daily are, being in nature, meditating, my yoga practice, and really connecting with family and friends. So those things all help me slow down and be more in the moment and bring a lot of joy to my life. So that's what I do to feel good.
Awesome. Well, I had talked to you the other day and I was so impressed by you that I wanted to invite you to the show, first of all, because I thought it was really amazing what you do and how much you can help people. So the first question that I have for you is, what is, well, first of all, I want you to tell me about yourself, and then I'm going to ask you the first question.
Okay.
How did this come about? Like, why did you do this?
Sure. So, as you mentioned, I've been working with parents and doing education consulting for about 20 plus years. And during that time, uh, I was able to help parents a lot connect more with their children, have good communication skills, discipline strategies, and all of this. But what I noticed was that sometimes the insight they got from uh, coaching with me or reading parenting books, going to a seminar, these things, that it's good insight, but sometimes putting it into practice doesn't work well. So um, I wanted to focus on mental fitness so that these parents and other clients that I work with who may not necessarily be parents have the mental capacity to put into practice the things that they're learning. Because sometimes a parent might know the right thing to say and do with the child, but in that moment they get triggered and they can't self-regulate. So they do and say the wrong things, and then they feel bad about it. And so what I my goal is to really help people just feel more calm and relaxed, have more awareness of their thoughts, and develop the mental fitness skills so that they can um, carry out, the ways that they intend to behave and react and all of that.
Awesome. Well, what I wanted to know, first of all, I want to say that I love that you work with children, because life has been going so crazy lately that it's like kids are really having problems with their emotions and everything. So what you do is so important. And not only that, but children are the rising generation, right? When they have so many because I work on an emotional basis, right? So if they have all these trapped emotions in themselves, it's really, really difficult for them to go forward and be their best selves. So my question for you is, what is mental fitness?
Okay, so mental fitness, and that's really the focus of a lot of my life coaching, is really the capacity to handle life's challenges with a positive rather than a negative mindset. And most adults haven't developed strong mental fitness skills. It's not really our fault. We're kind of set up with conditioning and the way humans have evolved to have a
Mhm.
more negative uh, sort of way to process our experiences. So, but mental fitness is really that capacity to be positive.
Well, I would call that a growth moment.
Yes.
Right? I would definitely call that a growth moment. So now that we know that, I wanted to know what are the ways to cultivate this mental fitness that you're talking about?
Well, first of all, what needs to happen is an awareness of sort of that inner critic inside of us, and
Mhm.
how our thoughts really interfere with how feeling good. And so we all have this sort of inner critic that comes from human evolution. For instance, the way we've evolved, we had to pay attention to the dangers around us. We had to pay attention to the poisonous snake over the beautiful butterfly,
Mhm.
to keep us alive. And so that wired neural connections in our brain to be super aware of danger. And then the second part that contributes to a negative sort of mindset is that we are conditioned as from very young. As you mentioned, it's so important with children to be able to help them process their emotions. But if we're growing up in a home where every time we share an emotion, we're criticized or shamed, then we're going to stuff those emotions in, and we'll start having beliefs that, oh, I can't show those emotions. It makes mom or dad feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to hide these emotions. So anyway, we're conditioned in many, many ways to
Mhm.
um, to have a negative mindset.
That is for sure. That's for sure. And what does a negative mindset do for us? Absolutely nothing, correct?
That's right. It just basically what happens is over time is the left side of our brain where most of our um, where we process negative emotions, that gets really strongly wired. So it's like a super highway of neural connectivity over there. So we have a new experience. Instead of being in a neutral place or a positive point of view, we're just automatically experiencing things and processing things from a negative point of view. So I could have an interaction with someone at the grocery store, and I might they may say or do something that really had nothing to do with me or wasn't intended to be rude, but because I have that negative neural pathway, that super highway, it's just going right in there, and I'm maybe taking offense or taking something personal, and it's nothing to do with that. So yeah, that's what happens with those strong negative connections.
That it's so true, and it took me a really long time to realize that that was what was going on with me, because I would always just jump to, like, whatever I thought something was, but it really wasn't. Thinking the worst is what I would always call it. And it seems like that was just a part of my thinking. And it
Right.
was really sad. And I've got to tell you something very funny right now. This thing popped up next to us, and I don't know how to get rid of it.
Oh, that little banner.
Yes, and so it's making it so I can't do things that I
Okay,
want
well,
to
don't let your inner critic jump in and make you feel bad about it. We'll just keep going. Because things like that, those are situations where our judge comes in and starts saying, "Don't you know how to do this? What's going on?" And rather than just going with the flow and being like, "Oh, it is what it is."
being like, I'm so vain, I have to have myself and another picture. So, okay, so the another question that I had, I thought this is funny. So why do we have that inner critic? Is it because of what we were just talking about? Because of our past things? Is that really what causes
Yeah,
us to have an
it's
inner
really
critic?
that the human evolution and the childhood conditioning.
Mhm.
And to give you an example, we all the mental fitness that I program that I use is it's out of a program from Stanford University. It's called Positive Intelligence, and they come up with a sort of framework and the inner critic, the way they describe the inner critic is a series of different saboteurs. And there are 10 saboteurs, and each one is based off, well, we all have some top saboteurs. Like, for instance, my top saboteurs are pleaser and avoider. And so the pleaser, when I'm not in saboteur mind and I'm over on the right side of my brain where I have my good emotions, and good feelings, when I'm expressing it as my gift, I like making people happy. I like doing things for people, and so that's a real gift that I have. I'm empathetic, but when I overuse and abuse it, then it becomes a saboteur, and that saboteur, the pleaser saboteur that resides over there on the left side, tells me messages like, oh, you better say yes to that person, even though you don't want to do it, because if you don't, you'll disappoint them. Or you better make that person happy, because if you don't, they won't love you. So those are the messages. That's the inner critic, the pleaser. And that's for me a very strong saboteur that I work on. The other one for me is an avoider, where the positive side of the avoider saboteur is I'm someone who's pretty flexible and easygoing. I like to enjoy life and have nice experiences. And when I overuse and abuse it, it becomes a saboteur that says to me things like, "Oh, you don't have to do that work right now. Just put it aside for a while," or "That's a really hard conversation. You don't want to talk, you don't want to have that conversation. It might lead to a conflict. So just avoid that conversation." So that saboteur tricks me into not doing the things that are important for me to do. So there are lots of that. Like I said, there are 10 different saboteurs in the positive intelligence program. And so there's the pleaser, avoider, the stickler, which is like a perfectionist, controller, hypervigilant, victim. There's a long list. And they really come from our strengths. So as a child, we learned these things, and we unfortunately overuse and abuse these strengths, and they generate a lot of our negative thoughts.
Wow, that's interesting that they come from our strengths.
Yes. Yeah, they come from our strengths. So we need to learn how to stop. When we were kids, they kept us safe.
Mhm.
Let's say when I was a child, the pleaser in me would make someone happy thinking, oh, in order to survive and thrive, I need to please my parents, or whatever it is. And so I naturally did that thing. So I just kept doing it until it developed the saboteur.
Interesting. Well, I had a couple of things I was gonna talk. These were like my tips, and
Mhm.
so I think don't believe everything you think. So I think that kind of goes along. I mean, I'm laughing so hard because all of these uh, qualities or whatever that we have that can become our saboteurs. It's like I know all these people. I've probably been all of these people, right?
Yes.
So don't believe everything you think was one tip I thought about. And then the other thing is if you think you can or you can't, it is true. And then that was reminded today when I was doing my workout. I do DDPY yoga. And that's what he says at the end. If you think you can or you can't, it's true. And that is so so, so, so powerful. And then opposition is necessary for growth to occur. So, with what you are within this whole program that you're talking about, our mental fitness, what do these mean to you?
Yeah, well, I think that second one is really aligned with the positive intelligence and mental fitness work because, if we're processing everything on our negative side of our brain, then that's our truth. That's our reality. That's our experience. And we're going to have a lot more stress, a lot more, we're going to feel a lot more overwhelmed and just have a lot more problems in our life versus if we can build those neural connections on the right side of our brain, where we experience feelings like compassion and love and gratitude, where we process creativity and empathy. uh, if we are processing things on that side of our brain, then
Mhm.
we're going to have a good outcome. So it really, whatever we tell ourselves is the truth and is our experience. And so right now, many of us are often telling the negative truth, and we can switch
Right.
it. We can build the neural connections on our right side of the brain, and then we can have a more positive life experience, really.
Well, you make it sound like it's so simple, but by when you're saying you help people by setting their goals, but this sounds like a whole like changing the way that you think or just understanding that the way that you're thinking isn't always what's happening.
Right. No, it's very true, and it is a matter of, it's not just about setting goals. It's really about building the neural connections in the right side of your brain so that you can experience a life from a positive mindset. Um, so, like I said earlier, the left side of our brain, where the negative emotions are processed, it's
Mhm.
like a super highway, and the right side is like a dirt road. So, of course, when new experiences come in, they automatically go over here. It's just a fast moving connection. So, we need to build the neural connections on the right side. And the way that you do that is really by learning to get present, getting out of your head into your body. So a lot
Mhm.
of it is with meditation. You can reimagine past experiences. Like, for instance, let's say I had an interaction with my child that I was disappointed with my response. I might go just close my eyes for 2 minutes and reimagine that situation by saying to myself, oh, next time when I get to that point of wanting to explode, I'm going to do something called a PQ rep, which is like, maybe really intensely feeling your fingertips, which gets you again out of your head and into your body. And instead of reacting, I'm going to take a breath, and then I'm going to do, this is how I would have responded. And even that reimagining builds neural connections. The same is true for future events. So if I have a big presentation, or I'm going to have a hard conversation with someone, I might sit quietly, imagine and rehearse what I'm going to say and do. And that rehearsal actually builds neural connections as well. And if I can share with you a research study that really shows this, because our bodies and our nervous system, that it doesn't know what's real or imagined. And so that's why we can get, our heart racing, and we could start sweating and feeling upset, even if it's just a thought about that fight you were in or something. Your body doesn't know if it's happening now or not. And there is this really fascinating research study where it's about basketball free throw shots. And they have 3 groups that they tested to see how well they could do free throw shots. They tested 3 groups. The first group, they said, go away, don't play basketball for the next 2 weeks. The second group, they said, okay, every day, practice your free throw shots for, maybe it was 10 minutes. And then the third group, they said, don't touch a basketball, but for 10 minutes a day, close your eyes and rehearse taking free throw shots. After the study was finished, or 2 weeks later, I might have the times wrong, but the first group didn't improve at all because they didn't play basketball. The second group, who physically practiced, they improved 24%, and the group that only rehearsed improved 23%. So you really do build neural connections. And the program that I bring people through, in 6 to 8 weeks, they've shown with MRI scanning that there is neural growth in that short time on the right side of the brain, and atrophy on the left side. So it's really promising what our brains can do for us.
Well, I remember telling you the story that it's like when I was trying out for to be what we called a song girl, which is like a dancing cheerleader in junior high school, that
Yes.
I was in 6th grade at the time. And I was having such a difficult time learning the routine. So I laid in bed every morning and every night, and then I would practice it in my mind. So if I practiced it in my mind in the morning, then when I got out of bed and I got up and I did it, I was able to do it. And by doing that practice, I actually made the team.
That's such a perfect example. Exactly. You rehearsed what you wanted to do, and then you were able to carry it through because you were building the framework in your brain to rely on it. So,
and I had no idea that I was doing that.
yeah.
So that's kind of exciting. So Katie, you have these programs that you do that you help people with. So what I guess you can give me that information, and I can let people either reach out to me or whatever if they're interested in that program. But you do this also. You do this for children. You can do this for teenagers, adolescents, basically anybody.
Well, I actually don't do it with children. The work that I do with children is really through the parents. So helping the parents learn these skills helps them a lot to model, appropriate responses and emotions to their children. So I do work with parents, couples, and I do groups of women. I'm about to promote some offerings around women's groups. It's usually around 5 or 6 people in a group meeting once a week. It's a 7-week program. and with some coaching. And within that time, you really learn to intercept that inner critic, those saboteur thoughts.
Right.
Learn the skills to get present in the moment, and then you learn also some tools about how to turn those challenges into gifts and opportunities and make better choices.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to share your tip. So just like we need to exercise our bodies to be physically fit, we need to exercise our minds to be mentally fit. By learning to quiet our inner critic, we can develop positive mindset and live life with ease and flow. And I love I love ease and flow. I mean, that's like the focus that I'm trying to do right now in my life, because it's like you're going and you're going, and you can just actually go crazy and become what the bad word, I call it overwhelmed, which I try really hard not to say. So with this mental practice that you can help people with, and developing the mental fitness, is that something also that it just helps to, even when the chaos is going on, you're able to just deal with it in a whole different way? Is that like what you
Yes,
say would
yeah.
be kind of like the end goal?
Yes, absolutely. So if all of those negative thoughts that we have about our circumstances, about ourselves, about other people, those negative thoughts are our saboteurs. Those are generated by our saboteurs. And if we just sit there and continue to cycle a negative thought, it's like holding your hand on the hot stove. So the negative thought is there for a good alert. It's meant to,
Right.
we can't get rid of those, but we don't have to sit there and hold the hand on the hot stove. We can learn to, okay, I hear this thought that says, I better get going on this project or I'm going to fail. And so now, instead of worrying about it and feeling the overwhelm and the stress, I'm going to get present, get out of my head into my body, and I'm going to move toward, ease and flow and action. So
Awesome. So
yes,
I would call that a stepping into wellness moment. Being
yes.
able to do that, being able to deal with what we have to deal with on a daily basis in a very calm way. So, Katie, I wanted to ask you, how can people reach you? I mean, you can reach me because I know how to reach Katie, but I know that you're developing a new website. You're Katie May
Yes. So
Vasicek.
exactly. So yeah, my website that's active right now is called Vista Parenting, and that's really more focused on my parenting work and coaching with parents. Now I'm moving more into the mental fitness space, working with parents and others who want to just live with a more positive mindset. And that website will be up and running in the next few weeks. It's going to be called With Katie May, KATIEMAE.com, withkatiemay.com. And they can reach me there, or the email will be katie@withkatiemay.com.
The email will be Katie
Katie,
at
@withkatiemay.com.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, I thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. And I know the importance of mental fitness, because the one thing that I know is when we're not right up here, our bodies, our physical bodies are not going to be right, and we cannot get into wellness. So the work that you're doing is so powerful. And I am so thankful for you for making it happen and doing it, and coming here and sharing this information with us. So I'm going to drop you into the green room, and
Okay.
I
Well,
will join you
thank you,
after.
Lana. I really appreciate it. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. And yeah, I love your show and really appreciate you having me on.
Oh, thank
Bye,
you so much.
everyone.
Okay. Thank you so much for the entertainment that we had today. Mostly I dropped my glasses. I can't get rid of this, but having the most beautiful, gorgeous woman on to share such powerful information with us. So, until next time, thank you so much for joining us, and we will we will see you. Okay. Okay. Why can't I get? Thank you for joining me today. You can learn more about me, my products and services at happyhealing.me. Make sure to join me for another episode every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time and 1 p.m. Central Time on my globally recognized show, Steps to Feel Good Daily with Lona.